Okay, everybody, wait a minute. Hold on one square second. Let's make sure that we've got Whitney Adkins on camera. Get over there. Come on, get over there. Say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, she's the champion of all champions, and we want to make sure that everybody acknowledges Whitney because she's so fabulous. And you're not going to be in the show this time.
Not this time.
Not this time, but we've got another group of characters.
Very capable hands. Better than me.
All right, I just had to do that because she's the one who always has been the go-to gal for Stage 1 Family Theater, and we love her, and we want to make sure that she gets acknowledged for being such a big part of Stage 1. So thank you, Whitney. We appreciate you. She's laughing at me now.
She's the power behind the throne.
She is the power behind the throne. I just want to make sure that this is director Andrew Harris, who is also the power behind the throne. And then we have Jennifer and Elle, who are a mother-daughter team here. One is a stage parent, the other is a stage actor. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to come in. I know you probably just got done with school and you've got a busy season coming up too here, right?
Yes.
So Andrew, let's start with you.
All right.
This is one of the funniest shows that has ever been written. And it is a staple of the holiday season in Louisville, as much as the Nutcracker, as much as, a Christmas Carol, any other thing that you can imagine. The best Christmas pageant ever.
It's a great show.
It truly is the best Christmas
and
pageant
you're right.
ever.
It is absolutely hilarious. As a matter of fact, I've directed the show. I think this is my 9th time.
Holy smoke.
And people say, oh, Lord, aren't you just bored with that show?
Oh,
and I'm
no.
like, absolutely not. I love the show so much.
Well, you can get so much out of it, too, every single time you do it.
Oh, sure.
And you're going to get a new crew and a new cast and a new
setting,
maybe.
You've got, you've got a great group of professional adult actors, but then you've got 32 student actors that are part of the show.
I love it.
They're divided into 2 casts of 16. And, sometimes you get those kids that return. They've done it once or twice, or, I was a baby angel when I'm 8, but then, they're 14 and come back and suddenly are playing another role.
So I think Elle Sparks might be one of those. Am I right about that?
She's done it a couple of times.
Have you? Have you done it
Third
before?
go-round, I think.
Yep.
Really?
Third go-round.
So tell me about the roles that you have played, Ms. Elle.
The first year I was a choir member.
Yes.
And that was too much fun.
And then it was.
Last year I was Imogene Herdman, and then this year I'm playing Imogene Herdman again.
Are you now? Is Imogene one of the most obnoxious of the Herdman children?
Oh, yeah.
Is she?
Oh,
the
yeah.
leader of the Herdman?
Yeah.
Are you the oldest?
Second oldest.
Second oldest, okay. So give us the rundown on who the Herdman kids are, and just give me a word to describe each one of them.
Well, they're all like a mess. And, like Ralph
That's
is
what we like.
Yeah.
A mess.
Yeah. Ralph is the oldest, and then Imogene is the second oldest, and then there's Leroy, Claudia, Ollie, and Gladys. And Gladys is just horrible. She's like a little demon child. She bites people.
She's fast, she's mean, and she bites.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying. Sounds like my neighbor kid.
What we referred to,
Just kidding.
referred to in rehearsal as a little snarling dog, I think.
Yeah.
At one point.
No, that's terrible. Well, what I think is the most important to recognize is the fact that we've got such an outstanding pool of actors in Louisville to choose from, and people wonder all the time, do we always bring people in from out of town? And I know that several organizations within the city in the past have been accused of bringing in the best singers, the best actors, the best musicians from New York and from Chicago, and you don't really have to do that because we've got such talent deep here.
The best is such a relative term, just because you live in New York, just because you live in Chicago doesn't mean you're more talented than someone who lives locally.
Exactly.
I would argue that we bring in the best talent every single time for every single role, and they all live right here in Louisville.
Yes, and
that's
there's one of them right there.
You're exactly right. We've brought her back 3 times, so she must not be doing too bad.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, she still gets notes, but
so Mom Jennifer Sparks, tell us a little bit about what it's like to raise a child actor.
Oh, it's a joy, but you never know what's going to come from her. She keeps me laughing all the time. I never know. She's been entertaining me since she was able to talk, which was 14 months. Said her first sentence, and she's just, I never know what to expect from her. She's hilarious, but she's a fabulous student. She's homeschooled, and I've had the joy of being her teacher.
Yes, so you're a fabulous teacher, I'm sure.
So,
Yes.
She says best teacher ever, but I mean.
that subsequently makes you the worst teacher ever too, right?
It's a joy. It's a joy. I love being her taxi driver for the theater. I love sitting in on all the shows. I get the privilege to see her, and I'd love to see her in pageant.
Okay, now how many runs did you say you saw of the last time she was in a show?
The first year I saw the show 38 times. She was in it 42. I saw it 38
What happened
times.
to you? What kind of a bad mother are you missing 4 shows?
Really?
This man took me away a couple of times, and we chatted during the show. And I don't know where I was the other couple of times, but I was
so
there.
funny.
I was there.
You were getting
love
gas
that.
in the car so you could take me to the next thing.
I made friends of all the people at the Center for the Arts, all the security guards and the volunteers, and I just made friends. We lived there 6 days a week.
Absolutely.
So
How hard is that for you, Elle, to get all the things that you need to get done? Are you taking homework to the theater? Or?
Yeah, and I usually make it up after the fact because I try to focus on the show so I don't go crazy.
Yeah.
But I usually make up the school after the fact. Usually.
Summertime,
Yeah.
when you're homeschooled, you can kind of work into the summer, and
Yes.
you don't get spring break
Yes.
because you were
Yeah.
doing the best Christmas pageant ever. You don't get Christmas break because you were doing the best Christmas pageant ever. You just work right through.
That's awesome.
Well, and it's not uncommon for those students that don't have the benefit of that to be sitting there frantically doing
Yes.
homework. How much time do I have left on our break? You got 2 minutes. Okay. Put it down now. Get on stage.
Yeah, but this is a learning experience.
Well,
in
it
and of
is, and
itself.
that's actually something that we talk
Yeah.
a lot about with the students and the parents as well. Is when you get to do a show with Stage 1, yes, you get to miss school to perform, but it's not, oh boy, I get to miss school. It's, oh boy, I get to work that much harder to maintain my grades,
Yes.
because that's something that we say up front. If you don't maintain your grades, you don't maintain your role.
Wow, that's amazing. So do you actually get the report cards and take a look at them?
Well, parents let
Or
me
do you
know.
rely on anecdotal evidence from the parents?
The parents let me know very quickly if there
I'm
are
sure they
struggles.
do.
They let me know very quickly.
I'm sure they do, and that's the best part about doing shows in Louisville, particularly with local kids, because then you're not going through that whole thing that kids who go to movies have to, the kids who are on a movie set somewhere are tutored by people that they don't know, and they're, going through a whole different type of thing. You're still here, you're still guided by your own school system, you still have your own friends, you guys can study together and enjoy each other's company.
Well, on top of that, because we perform for so many student audiences,
Yes.
so many student matinees,
Yes.
and the school system is so supportive of their students, oftentimes their classes book field trips to come see them.
I like that.
And so then you have those mornings where they're like, yay, my class is coming. They kind of run the whole myriad of emotion there.
How does that make you feel when all your friends are sitting there?
Well, usually all my friends are in the show, so
Good point.
because I'm homeschooled, but it doesn't usually affect me on stage that people are there for me. It's just afterwards. It's fun to see them all and see their reactions to the
So
story.
people ask the question of me, and I know they ask it of you. Do you ever get stage fright?
No.
Me either. High five, sister. I love it. So, Andrew, let's talk a little bit about, I'm looking at all the wonderful posters in this
Sure.
room. This is the rehearsal hall for Stage 1, by the way, which is why you see all kinds of cool stuff. And there are markings on the floor, and there are posters on the walls, and there are giant mirrors and benches and keyboards and everything else you can imagine. And of course, we created our own little set here, thanks to Whitney and Andrew. We appreciate that. Andrew's the director of the Best Christmas Pageant Ever, and Elle is one of the fabulous actors in the show, and her mom, Jennifer, is just along for the ride to give us a perspective on what it's like to have a child actor in the family, which is, a wonderful thing and a challenging thing all at the same time, because you're you're juggling so many balls at the same time, keeping a lot of things in the air and making sure that, not only is your child excelling in school and excelling on stage, but is also happy and satisfied and, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy, as well as physically healthy. And those are all things that are really important to families.
Absolutely.
And I know you probably have one of your own.
I do.
So you kind of know that from the experience. You got to keep that little family unit together.
Oh, absolutely. Well, 2 years ago, my wife, Clara, is a professional actor, and she played the adult lead in the show. And my son made his professional stage debut as a baby angel.
Oh my gosh.
And so, literally it was a family affair.
Were you
with
directing?
and I directed the show. So it was
awesome.
really a family affair, and it was so interesting. My wife and I have worked together before, so we're very good at separating. When you're in rehearsal, it's business, it's director, actor. you know, and I had to have that conversation with my son about, okay, I'm not dad.
And this was when he
in
was the
rehearsal.
baby Jesus?
Or he was baby angel.
Baby angel,
But,
okay.
But,
Did he understand what
oh,
you were
yeah,
saying?
he looked at me and he was like, yeah, Dad, I'm good. I'm good. But almost to the point that...
How old was he?
At that time, he was 10.
Oh, okay, so he was
10.
old enough
he
to
was
understand.
10,
Okay.
but, you know, then all of a sudden on breaks, he'd go bug his mom, and she's trying to do her work, and she's like, I'll talk to your dad. And he's like, my dad's not here. My director's here.
Only my director is here. I love that. Well, you know, when you said baby angel, I'm thinking, you know, like 18 months. And I was going, you were telling him that? And he understood you?
Nope.
That's pretty amazing. When you are doing a stage one family show, you are going to expect to run into a tremendous number of kids, but not every show you guys put on is for kids necessarily.
No,
I mean,
not
it's
at
a
all.
huge crossover. And we've talked about this every time that Whitney's ever been on the show, and we talked to Idris about this. There's just a lot of content that adults can
Absolutely.
Appreciate too.
You know, the way I like to explain it, when people hear that we're a theater for a young audience or a children's theater, they think, oh, that's the kids stuff, and they're thinking, you know, the Wiggles or, you know, Big Silly Voices and things like that. The way I like to explain it is that there really are just two kinds of theater, good theater and bad theater.
Yeah.
We do good theater. Our target audience happens to be young, but let's face it, as adults, we often enjoy Pixar, come
Yes,
on, you know, all of these
absolutely.
things. And the places
I just
we
watched
do,
Mowgli on Netflix, and I was just enchanted. You know, the Imaginarium film.
Oh, yeah.
And Jungle Book is coming out this summer, and I love anything that. I mean, I'm 14, so.
that's me. I'm Peter Pan. I still.
Yes.
I told my mother, you know, when I was young, that I was going to grow up to be, you know, a knight and a superhero and an astronaut.
I
and
love
Robin
that.
Hood. And so basically,
And a marine biologist.
I play make believe for a living, you know, and still
Yes.
do. No, but our shows are it's good storytelling, and there's a lot of stuff for all ages. And you know, even if you think that it's not a show for you, I challenge you to come down and see a stage one show because you won't leave disappointed. Matter of fact, we did a production of Frankenstein earlier in the season.
Oh, this is a scary story.
And it is. And you know.
No, I mean the story you're going to tell.
Oh, actually, no, it's a great story. Oh, I'll tell that story.
Yeah,
too.
that
No,
story.
a different story. But the first story, we did a performance on Halloween night. We thought, well, why not? Let's have a performance
yeah.
on Halloween night. And I happened to be in the lobby, kind of at our front table, and there were so many adults coming
Yeah.
without kids. And I just saw this. I didn't know about it. I thought I would want to come. And what's even better is all of those adults were coming out after the show, coming back up to the table going, what's next? What can I see next? Not, you know, well, this show was for adults. The rest of that stuff, they're like, Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. I want to see that.
Let's go.
You know, so it's great stuff.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So tell the story about your son now,
Okay,
because
so-
this is separating dad from director once again.
So my son was in Frankenstein. He played William Frankenstein, Victor's younger brother, and he was on stage, and he gets killed on stage.
And how old is he now in this show?
He just turned 12.
Just
He had
turned 12 in that show, okay.
And so there's a scene where the creation comes in and grabs him. He ends up, you know, strangling him on stage, and we're body thrashing on the ground. And of course, I've staged the scene. I know what it looks like. I've seen it, and both my son and the actor Brandon, who was playing the creation, were doing a great job. And you're sort of going, man, that's a great scene. You guys do it awesome. Oh, that death scene looks so great. And then we were in our tech rehearsals. And all of a sudden you've got lights and sound, costumes, makeup, it's all coming together, and I sit there with my notepad, writing notes during the run through, and we come up to that scene, and all of a sudden I got this really nauseous feeling.
I bet.
And it's like, director Andrew went away, dad Andrew came in, they go, that's my kid! And literally kills him on stage, and I was like, holding, I had to get up and literally walk around the theater. And of course nobody thinks anything of it, because during a typical tech
Sure,
rehearsal,
you would.
I move around the space, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, Andrew's just going to go look at it from a different angle. No, Andrew had to walk around a little bit.
Andrew's crying in the corner.
I was just like,
He's so freaked out.
I was thinking about all the things I was going to do to the actor who just did that to my son.
Oh, Lord. Well, I tell you what, that is a good thing to really understand, and that separation is so big, because a lot of acting is you talk to people about what can you pull from inside you
Sure.
that's going to enable you to play a role. So you seem like a really nice girl, Elle. So what are you pulling from inside you to get Imogene to surface?
Well, I don't know. I guess I've read the script so many times, and I've been in the show so many times, and I dissect the lines, so I try to figure out what the character is thinking and feeling. So I don't necessarily pull from myself, but more put myself into the character, and that's really helpful.
I know what you did. You talked to Leah Michelle Roberts, and that's how you got. That's how you learned how to be a mean girl.
She's channeling her inner Leah.
She's watching. Hi, Leah.
Tara,
Hi, Leah.
Tara,
Love you, Leah.
I think she's just not willing to say the real motivation because she's sitting next to us.
She's got a lot of, she can channel her angst into Imogene.
That's cool.
Imogene is her dream role. She got it last year, and she wept. They don't cast. They just come in for like an open. They don't audition for a certain role.
Right.
So she came in just to audition for whatever Andrew was going to put her in. And she just wanted Imogene. She wanted to be Imogene. She wanted to be that mean girl. And she was Imogene. She got the call, and I came and told her. She was like, what is it? And
After the mean suspension.
Yes, after I made her
They
wait.
called.
And it was like, they called. And she was just
See,
like,
I told you. That's the channeling right there.
And then I said,
mean.
you're Imogene. And she just wept.
That's so
Because
cool.
she loves it. Imogene's one of the best characters, I think, because she's complex.
She is. She's really complex. And she, in more than the other Herdman, she epitomizes the kind of transformation that these children go through, and from not knowing anything to really having these complex emotions and gaining understanding and acceptance. You know, we actually talk a lot in rehearsal, especially with the Herdmans, that these are not caricatures. They're not, we're the bad kid. Nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to be the bad kid today.
Right.
That there's something behind that. There's a reason why. And we go into the book, and there's a little more backstory in there about why they are the way they are. Dad left, and mom's working 2 jobs. They live above a garage, so it's pretty easy to infer that the older children have raised the younger children and are instilling what they know or don't know, and how they're just struggling to survive. And so what we classify as they're the bullies, well, it comes from somewhere.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that the Herdmans really have to tap into. Sure, there's a lot of fun with it. There's some funny moments, and it brings some humor, but there's also some real depth and complexity.
Well, I want to thank Mickey Price and Debbie Hossman for watching. Alan Miller's with us, Jarena Faulkner, Tina Mull, Lisa Smalley, Pamela Uselton, Sheila Bishop, welcome. Glad you guys are with us. Of course, Leah. Danielle Ames is watching. She's a canine trainer, a service dog trainer for veterans, and teaching veterans to train dogs, which is really cool. Like that. Betty Grant. Oh, from the West Coast. Betty, hey, glad to have you with us. Known her all my life. Kim Kelly and Wendy Lovelace and Phil Collins. Caroline Knopp has just signed on, ladies and gentlemen. She's not here today. She usually is. And she is Simply PR, which is simply one of the greatest PR representatives in the city of Louisville. And
She's great.
She always sets up great, fun interviews and lets me talk to all of the people that she represents, and even some of the ones that she doesn't. She just grabs them and pulls them into camera. So thank you, Caroline. Wish you could be here. I understand there was a mouse in your house. Is that what you were telling me? Let's talk about that a little bit.
I heard a whole story. I was like, really, you're not going to come, Caroline? You're going to leave me stranded?
Exactly.
I thought we were
with Tara?
I thought we were tight. I don't know. It's like I don't even know you anymore. She's like, no. There is a mouse in my house.
In my
apparently,
house.
if I understand it correctly, that there's a little bit of a phobia there and a concern about this mouse. So I am hopeful that Terminex took care of it when they came.
I hope so too.
Just a little while ago. So
if
Caroline,
not, just let me
Caroline,
know.
we're rooting for you.
Yeah, let me know and I'll bring Gracie over and you'll have no more mice. I promise.
She did say, I think I might have to get a cat.
They're really handy. They do. They come in. Dogs and cats both come. I've got a mole hunter myself, but she'll go for mice too. So let's talk just a little tiny bit, if you want to, about this. This is getting deep into that emotion that we're talking about the Herdmans. What do you think propels Imogene? What is the single factor that has made her into who she is?
Well, it's sort of necessity. Because, she has to raise her younger siblings, and she doesn't have, her mother's not around. She works 2 jobs, so she's not there. So she just does what she has to survive.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't necessarily know what's right. And so, she just teaches the younger Herdmans that, you have to do what you have to do, basically.
Yeah, just to get through it. And
Yeah.
you're the second from the oldest and the 5
Yes.
Herdman kids.
6.
6 Herdman kids. Good Lord, it just seems like it just keeps growing every moment. And I think that survival mechanism is something that we're seeing more and more in society these days because of the lack of your classic 2-parent, standard beaver cleaver home that's been gone since the 1950s, and the inability, I think, of a lot of single parents to be able to handle the responsibilities of a large family. I mean, it's hard enough to get along with 1 kid and a job, let alone a herd of 6.
Yeah.
And so, I'm just kind of curious when it comes to the balancing act, Jennifer. You're dealing with so many different variables. Do you have any other children in the family?
Her older sister just went off to college.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, and I'm still trying to find that balance because she has some health issues, and I'm made a few trips down to college to take her food and try to
Where is
take
she?
her medical supplies. She's down at Asbury in Wilmore.
Oh, wow,
So
beautiful.
not too far of a drive. Her sister actually is doing film and TV, so we're kind of keeping it all in the family. She's more of a behind the scenes kind of a person. She does editing. She likes to make movie trailers and
Cool.
She writes.
And they have that at Asbury? There's a track?
Yes, they have film.
They've
and-
got a great
yes.
film program.
Fantastic.
They have a great, and that's why she's there. Film and TV.
I love
She's
that.
getting ready to go to the Sundance Film Festival with one of her professors is taking a
Cool.
class trip. So and she.
Well, they produce a student film every
Yeah.
year, and they bring in big name people. My wife actually has done a couple of them there. And
Oh, there's a big name right
Yes.
there.
And,
Claire Harris. I love that.
the first
Yes.
the first year she did it, the film they did was directed by Anson Williams.
Oh my God,
You know,
Potsy.
Potsy
Of
Weber.
course.
Yes.
Happy Days.
And Doug Jones, who was in Shape of Water, played the creature
Oh
in
my
Shape
God.
of Water.
Scared me to death.
Was in the film with her, and
That's
apparently
amazing.
is just a lovely, lovely man. So Asbury's got a great program.
That's really cool. I love that. So the balancing act is really important. And if you had to give advice to someone who had children who were interested in acting, what would that tidbit be? What would be one of the big things you'd want them to know? Because I know there are a lot of parents who are thinking right now, my child could do that.
You just have to be committed to your kid's dream, I think.
Yeah.
It's you, I think as a parent, if, you give up a lot of what you want for your kids, and I gladly give it up because I want my kids to live their dreams.
Yeah.
And that makes me happy.
Well, and a lot of people don't realize they think it's just fun and playful, and they don't think about all of the hours
lot of
of
hard
work
work.
that goes into it. It is a job.
Yeah.
I mean, even our student actors get paid because it is a job.
Well, that's a nice sideline.
And-
Good
and-
for you.
well, I always tell the students the great thing about working with us as a student actor is what?
You get treated like a professional.
What's
There
the
you
worst
go.
thing about working with us as a student actor is?
You get treated like a professional.
It's exactly whether you're 8 or 80, whether you're a 80-year Broadway veteran or your first time on stage, we treat everybody the same. But it is work.
What's the hardest part? What's the worst treatment that you can get?
Oh, I don't know. I like all of it.
So it doesn't bother you. Do you yell?
No.
Do you ever yell?
No, I don't yell.
Just checking.
I don't. Do I yell?
Some
I don't
directors yell.
No, I'm not a yeller.
Oh, that's good.
No, I don't believe in that. It's work. And we're all going to work hard, and it's my job to build you up and support you.
That's
now,
right.
if you need some guidance, I'm happy to give that to you.
But quietly.
in a lot of different ways. But no, I don't yell. There's no need.
Well, football coaches yell.
Yeah. Well, it's. Yes, they do.
He's like, I'm not a football coach.
They do. No, I mean it's.
I wish they wouldn't.
It is important to us that we have a very open and friendly and positive atmosphere in all aspects of what we do as a company. Matter of fact, we joke about the fact that we have the no jerk rule. That in our business, the reality is that there are a lot of people that are fairly ego driven.
Sure.
And
jerks.
there are the yellers or the my vision. And it's like, you know what? We are storytellers.
Yes.
And there are many theater artists that will cringe at this statement, but it's important to remember that what we are doing is not surgery. There is nobody nobody on the table whose life is literally on the line.
Right.
We are storytellers. We are master storytellers. And we may not be saving their body, we may be saving their soul.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, it's called a play.
Yeah. Laughter is the best medicine, as
it
they
is,
used to say.
and we work hard, but we play hard. I like to tell all of the actors that we have fun by doing the work, not in spite of it.
Yes, good.
But we have fun doing the work, and I tell them, if you're having more fun on break than you are when we're actually rehearsing, well, there's a problem, and we need to readjust maybe some priorities.
How many kids are in the show total? Is there a class outside of the Herdman 6? Is there a whole class of kids? Okay.
32
32?
Well, there's 16 student roles in the play.
Oh, and you double
but
cast.
we have to double cast
Right.
because they perform during the daytime, and so
Right.
to miss school is a little challenging.
That makes sense. And we
So-
want to thank Mark Smith and Brian Hutchins and Rick Adams and Zach Miners. Hey, Zach Miners, there's a director for you. Zach, this girl has got it.
Yes,
She's
she
got
does.
it. She's got the it factor. If you need somebody for a commercial, and I'm not available, please feel free
She's
to call on Elle.
Let's call Elle, represented by Heyman Talent.
There,
Oh,
me
there you
too.
go. Throw it in
Oh my
there.
God,
Throw it in.
and Leah too.
And
So
my
am I-
wife
so am
too.
I, by the
Claire
way.
too. Oh, Heyman
Well,
is it.
Leah's been in the show a couple of times.
I
the
know.
best Christmas
Leah's been in
Pageant
everything.
ever.
Leah's now a movie star.
She is.
Leah's been on, what was that show with John Quinones? What Would You Do?
Oh, what would
Yeah.
you do?
What
She was a
would you do?
cashier.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Down in Wilmore.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
She's been in everything. She was in a movie. She flew out to California. I mean, there's pictures. There's pictures everywhere. Everything in the world happens to Leah. And Rune. Rune, who is the potentially cutest dog that ever lived, including my own three.
He is.
Don't feel
the
bad. She's
cutest dog,
so
yes.
funny. She's got this little butt that just waggles all by itself as she runs away.
It's awesome.
And nothing makes my heart sing more than when I hear her across the way at the dog park and Leah says, "Taran!" I say, "Rune!" I could care less about Leah. Rune dashes across the
I suddenly have visions of swelling music and
Oh,
you
I
and the
know.
dog running in slow motion toward each other down the beach.
into each other's arms. She's the cutest dog, and she's not at all afraid of mine. I've got a pack of 3 and 180 pounds of dog between the 3 of them, and she just runs right into the middle. And I said before we started the show, I said, when I first saw her, the first day that Leah ever brought her to the reservoir, I thought she had a bunny rabbit. Because she was this little tiny thing. She was the cutest dog ever. And, I know Rune has an extraordinary acting career ahead of her. And I know Kathy
yes.
at Heyman, Kathy Campbell, handles animal talent, too. So just be thinking about, I'm going to represent Rune, though. Kathy doesn't get that.
Yeah.
I'm going to negotiate her contract.
Well,
Lots of lean treats. Plenty of high-powered kibble. We'll do Rudy Green's doggy cuisine because it's all natural.
Sorry, you're tough but fair. You're tough but fair.
So we are at actors. We're at stage 1. I'm thinking these actors are fantastic. We are at stage 1 Family Theater, and we're in the actual rehearsal hall for the actors to be able to come in and get a feel in a great big room what it's like to be on a stage. But there really is nothing like getting on a stage. And so I'm just kind of, hey, kid, there comes a kid actor right there. What? Fashionably late. Hey, what's your name?
Charlie Norman.
Hi, Charlie. It's nice to meet you. Jennifer, are you going to give him your mic?
I would gladly
Jennifer
give him my
has
mic.
been such a fabulous stand-in. We want to give her a
Thank
big
you,
round of
Jennifer.
applause. Good job, Jennifer. Thank you so much, Charlie.
So Charlie,
Step right over that wire.
To let you know what a fine actor Charlie is, he plays Ralph Herdman, the oldest. So
Right there.
in true
Perfect.
Herdman character, he shows up when he wants, how he wants. He doesn't follow the rules.
And we're teasing you.
Just
because
like a Herdman. How
we
you doing,
know-
Charlie? Good to see you.
Are you driving these days?
No.
You just
not
had to
yet.
be dropped. Or did you take the bus?
My mom drove me.
Where do you go to school?
Cameron Middle School.
All right. So how
Yeah.
old are you?
I'm 14.
And
Turned
you-
14 today.
You are
It's his birthday
15.
today.
15. Oh, it's your birthday?
It's his birthday
You're
today.
spending
Yes,
it
it
here
is.
with us? Okay, are we
Yeah.
ready? Whitney, Jennifer, we ready?
Yep.
Are you going to do this with me?
Absolutely.
Ready?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Charlie. Happy birthday to you. Yay, Charlie. The lights went out. Worth the
Is
wait.
that a Herdman thing? Thank
I
you
think it
so
was my
much.
singing that
Oh,
did
I'm
that.
so glad that we knew that. You're 14 today.
I'm 14 today.
Holy smoke, and he's a star already. That he had to be transported in a limousine down here. Did you have green or red M&Ms? I'm just curious. In your
both.
dressing room, both. Christmassy. So let's just jump right into this with you. What's the whole role that you're playing here, and what's your motivation, as the director might ask you?
Well, I'm playing Ralph Herdman, who is the oldest of all the, quote, bad kids. And I kind of like to take the role as trying to be a fatherly figure to all the other Herdmans, in a sense, to try to create this kind of fatherly and kind of motherly bond with Imogene. But at the same time, I don't really know a lot myself, being Ralph Herdman, not growing up with parents, so I don't have a lot of experience, and therefore...
Ralph's parenting skills are a little lacking.
Yeah.
The old expression, the blind leading the blind, a little bit
Yeah.
there
exactly.
too. But you're trying.
Yeah. And also, I don't know what to say.
That's okay. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's great insight into what you're doing too. And I know that probably your life is a whole lot different than Ralph's.
Yes, definitely. I try to, create it so I'm present in the moment of somebody else's life.
Well, we actually talked a lot, especially with these two, as
I
the
bet.
two oldest. We talked a lot about the fact that, they are de facto parents, not by choice, but by design, and what does that mean? And when, Ralph's role model is his father, who has abandoned them, so that's not much of a role model. So what does he know? How does he know how to do things? And, and of course his siblings don't listen. So what does he do? He threatens them and, shoves them in the closet and, all of those other big brotherly things. And, and likewise, Imogene, her mother, as a role model, there are a lot of, bonding moments she would like to have, but her mother is essentially not present, not because she doesn't care or she doesn't love the children, because she can't be in order to provide them what little they have.
Right.
And so that's a tough place, because she can't even blame the mom for not being present, because mom's actually doing what she can, which creates an even more interesting dichotomy, because I can't even just be mad at you because you're doing what you can, and yet I wish you were here. And how do you process that, and how do you deal with that? And then how does that feed into the lessons that Ralph and Imogene learn as they go through this play?
So what is the toughest part about assuming the role of someone else? What's the most difficult part about you, Elle, becoming Imogene?
I guess it's just like really making sure that the things that I'm saying are honest, and that I'm not just saying lines on stage and going where I've been directed to go, but that I'm actually thinking about why is my character doing this, and what is my character thinking in this moment if I don't have any lines and I'm just like sitting there listening to other people talk. What am I thinking about right now?
Right.
Making it a real thing and not just lines and blocking.
So you're creating a backstory for yourself even in the process of doing a scene.
Yes.
We do like it where you go where you're directed to go, though.
Yes,
we are a fan of that.
Always helpful. How about you, Charlie?
I totally forgot the question.
Well, the idea is we're on stage.
This is why we write his lines
Exactly. Cue cards. Here you go. He's a birthday boy. We're just going to forgive everything today. I have a little bit of experience in this realm myself, and I remember at times as a child it was very important to stay in the moment and to follow all of these rules. And as an adult, sometimes you can get a little off track and start having your own sidebars and pretending to do lines quietly while you're actually having a conversation about where you're going after the show and all kinds of other things. So what do you do? What's your head doing while you're actually on stage?
I try to keep it 100% present in the moment and try to listen to what the other people are saying and react to how I think Ralph would react to something like that. And I've kind of marked out in my head, not exactly, but more or less how I should be reacting to these things and kind of just letting it flow in my character. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Well, and I'll tell you one thing that's nice about both of them. For being young people, they are quite skilled.
Absolutely.
And they both talked about being honest and being present. And part of that is not, okay, when they say this line, I'm going to react like this. But listening, and every day the reaction might be a little different.
Sure.
And that's okay, because they're reacting honestly to the delivery of that other actor or that other moment, because the great thing about live theater is it's never exactly the same.
Right.
And they're both quite adept at staying honest and present and real in the moment.
Yeah,
and
the authenticity is what matters to me as a person watching in the audience. I want to feel that the people who are on stage are real, because I like to suspend my disbelief. I want to be able to just fall into the theater. And I do this with television and movies too. I'm completely lost in whatever's happening in front of me, and that's how I want to be.
If the story pulls you in, it's a good story.
Yes, it is.
And,
yes, it is.
And any actor can do it. I'll tell a story about Elle. She was a choir member a couple of years ago, and the choir members have a lot of stage time, but not a lot of dialogue.
Yes.
But even in what you would say is a smaller role, Elle really would draw my eye, even in these group scenes, because of how engaged and how much I wanted to know what was going on in that character's head, just because of the way she was engaged and the reactions and the maturity as an actor she was bringing to it. It's like I'm captivated by the one hiding behind the altar over there, shivering in terror.
Upstaging without even upstaging, right?
The great thing about it is she wasn't.
Exactly.
It was just an honest,
the way she
really
is.
Believable reaction.
It's like that kid on the Facebook video that's gone viral, who's the little performer, and they say, "Watch this kid. I wish this were my kid." And she's just dancing all over the place and singing with her second grade class at the Christmas pageant or whatever. It's the most hysterical thing. What I wanted to say was hi to Sandra Rouse and hi to Debbie DeVore. Debbie DeVore is one of our greatest musicians in town. Pam Lead is watching us. She is general manager of Tops Magazine. So got a lot of cool people who love to tune in, and I'm grateful. I'll take it from Tara's Curtain Call Monday, and we are at Stage 1 Family Theater in the rehearsal hall with some pretty interesting characters. Director Andrew Harris is with us. Charlie and Elle are Ralph and Imogene Herdman. The Herdmans are a group of renegade children who take over the stage in the best Christmas pageant ever. And as I said before, it's a staple of Louisville Christmas fare. And we love that. We love the fact that that we can expect something that's familiar but not the same every year. So let me ask you just about settings, because we go through this with Dracula. And we go through it with Frankenstein and other shows like that, but there's always something new with the setting. It's a different period. It's approached with rock music. It's all these different things. How much has the best Christmas pageant ever evolved, and what's different that we're going to see this year?
Sure. Well, when I first started at Stage 1, it was not uncommon every year for the conversation to be about, well, what decade are we going to set it in? And it's going to be in the 50s, it's going to be in the 70s, it's going to be in the 80s, it's going to be wherever. Now we moved away from that probably about 10 years ago, because we took just really a long look at the story. And when Barbara Robinson wrote the book, it was not written as a period piece. It was contemporary to the time. It was written in the 80s, reflecting back to really 10, 15 years earlier, probably that late 60s, early 70s time period.
Cool.
And, as I really kind of spent some time analyzing the book, it's like, maybe we need to quit swapping decades, because you run the risk of becoming gimmicky and losing the honesty. And so we really kind of grounded it in that kind of, turn of the decades, right between the end of the 60s, beginning of the 70s, where the nuclear family still exists, and there still is some of that.
Still had dinner together most of the time.
Still had dinner, the fact that it was still common for the entire family to have dinner together, to go to church on Sunday, some of those things, and really kind of to ground it in that time period. What you're going to see differently from year to year, more often than not, are the actors.
Sure.
This year, we have a little bit of a difference because normally, of course, we perform at the Baumhart Theater, which is our, as I jokingly refer to it, our ancestral home.
Yes, our home away from home.
Well, the Baumhart Theater was built specifically for Stage 1 to be the primary user of it. It had stadium seating before that was popular.
That's right.
Because it was built for a kindergartner to see over the head of an adult.
Not amazing.
But
that's why I like to go to those authors forums there, because every seat in the house is
there is not a bad seat in that
great
house. But because of the fire at the Kentucky Center, the theater is okay, but the work on the lobby is happening during the daytime hours, which are the hours when we would perform, and for safety, they can't have the students there.
Sure.
So, that necessitated some changes. And so our good friends over at Memorial Auditorium, opened their doors and their arms and have been nothing short of amazing inviting us in. Matter of fact, Kelly Green, who runs the Memorial, way back in the day, was a marketing associate for Stage 1.
I remember.
And
Isn't
so,
that funny?
He, opened and welcomed us in, which is great. Now, Memorial's beautiful older theater. The stage also happens to be twice the size of the Baumhart.
Yes.
And at the Baumhard, we have the ability to do split level, play on
Yes.
multiple levels. We can't do that at Memorial.
Yep.
Much deeper house. You go from a 600 seat house to a 1,700 seat house. And so even, the set, we use the same set every year with some tweaks and things. When you drop it onto a stage twice as big and you take away our ability to do split level, someone's like, oh, this doesn't work anymore. And we don't have time to redesign the whole set. So now we have to get creative.
Yes.
So we made a few creative changes to the set and reworked the way a few things work, and it's been great. Matter of fact, part of it's like, well, when we go back to the Baumhard, can we bring some of that back over here now? And
love it.
get the creative juices flowing. But it really challenged us in the same way all the church or quote unquote good kids are in the play are challenged to reimagine the Christmas story. We were forced to reimagine and to make sure that we're really taking a hard look at how we tell the story and how we tell this in a new space, in a new environment, while maintaining the core that is this beautiful story.
So I want to know what you guys like to do outside of, if you have the time, going to your homeschool and going to your school, doing your shows, the rehearsals and the actual performances. What else? Do you have time to spend with friends? Are you old enough to date yet? I mean, I don't know. I didn't get to go out on my first
look at
real
me.
date
I can't
till I was
answer that
16.
I don't know. I'm not saying anything.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah. Yep. We're gonna stick with
What else
that.
do you have time to do? What do you like to do outside of what we're talking about right now?
I usually just go home and watch Netflix with my family and then go to sleep. And I dabble in screenwriting too.
Do you now? So what's the latest writing effort?
Well, I've been writing a sequel to the TV show Once Upon a Time, actually.
Oh, I love that show. That's my favorite Netflix show.
Mine too.
Well, I've kind of gotten into Designated Survivor now, but that's okay. And Mowgli, of course. Love that.
Ella's also quite a fan of pop culture.
Oh, well, talk to me about pop culture. What are we excited about these days?
Well, I'm super excited that the Avengers Endgame trailer just came out, and I'm super freaking out right now because I can't wait until April. And I'm also really anxious for the next Star Wars movie to come out, even though my sister won't tell me when it's coming out.
And she knows.
Yes, I think she does, but she's just that way.
She's like a herdman child, I swear. How about you, Charlie?
I'm a golfer.
Are you now?
Yeah, my
Are you
dad
good?
got me into. I think so. My dad got me into it a while ago. When I was 7 and just threw the club around.
That's a while ago.
But,
That's half your life ago, exactly.
Yeah. And now I take it a little more competitively, and over the summer, it's pretty fun to have a sport that you're kind of not known for, but you can always go and do. I go to Seneca Golf Course, if anybody knows what that is,
Absolutely.
and where that is.
Absolutely.
And it kind of feels like almost a second home, knowing that you can go there and knowing more than half the workers and just being like, hey, what up? I'm here to golf. So that's always nice.
That's good. And I won't ask you what your handicap is because the smart Alex and the family always say my golf clubs or my drive but how do you shoot?
I don't know.
What's your score at Seneca? Give me an average score at Seneca.
Whoa.
Come on, be honest. You can do it.
I'm gonna
Within
say
a plus or minus 10.
well, I'll go with over 10.
Okay.
Over 10 strokes in a game.
Okay.
That's
great.
let's go with less than 200, and we'll find the median around there.
I'm going to guess that he's probably shooting 78.
I don't know, around 90s sometimes. It changes.
I shot a 65 once.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Is that for 9 holes?
No, it was on 3 holes. Golfing, no, not my strength.
Our public course pros are some of the nicest guys in the world. I used to play a lot, and I don't get a chance to anymore, but I've always said there is nothing that I can find, any place else that I can't find at one of our Louisville public courses. And it's a beautiful city of golf courses, so it's nice that you're able to do that. Good for you. So I want to ask a big question, and I always talk to Whitney about this, so I'm going to let any of you guys hop in, but I want to talk about the sensory performances because I think they are so extraordinarily valuable, because we've had a huge uptick in awareness of sensory disorders in kids. And I have a great nephew who is on the spectrum and has been so extraordinarily fortunate to have parents who were able to jump in, get an early diagnosis and be able to, bring Noah into a world that is very, very friendly to him, as opposed to being a terrifying place, which a lot of kids experience. So talk to me a little bit from the perspective of actors about what the sensory performances are like for you, and then I'm going to have Andrew explain exactly what the criteria might be for someone to think about coming to one.
Well, I personally really enjoy doing the sensory-friendly performance because I know a lot of those kids don't normally get to go see theater, so that's really an honor for me to be able to do, and it doesn't usually affect my performance. I mean, you can hear the people vocalizing in the audience, but it doesn't affect me, really.
Charlie.
Yeah, it kind of just, it makes the lights it makes the audience house a little lighter, and so it's kind of just, it doesn't really change much about the show, and you always feel like you're doing something good for those kids that maybe are a little less fortunate. So at the end of the day, it's not much change in the actual performance, but it's a good deed.
Well, you do keep the house lights up.
We do.
And you encourage people to come to the shows if their kids might, even if you don't have to be on the autism spectrum. You can be somebody who can't sit still. You can have a little ADHD. You can have a little, hyperactivity, attention deficit disorder.
Absolutely. The important thing to remember is that, we believe very strongly that what we do is and should be for everyone.
Yes.
And everyone, no matter what, is welcome at a Stage 1 show. Now, the sensory-friendly performances, we do modifications. The house lights never go completely out. We have specialists come in and watch the show in advance, and so we look at, are there things that might be triggers, things, during Frankenstein, we have thunder and lightning and some scary moments where, we might have glow sticks to warn you in advance when something startling might happen, or we might have an opportunity. We brought out the creation and let the audience see him in his makeup, see that he's an actor in that makeup, and actually we demonstrated the death scene my son was in, demonstrated it for the audience so they see it in advance and knew that this is play violence and everything. And the modifications are different for every show. We have opportunities for people to get up and move around. We won't sell every ticket so that there's plenty of space. People are free to vocalize, to move around. We make sure that we have an alternate space that you can go to if you need some separation. Manipulatives if you need some fidgets or things to play with. And just everything that we can do to make sure that whomever wants to come to our shows know that they are welcome.
And this is in cooperation with, I think, the University of Louisville, you told me once, and that's a fantastic thing that we've got. Our University of Louisville is so fantastic in so many ways, and it's not just about sports, folks. It's about the School of Social Work and the School of Engineering and the School of what?
I mean, they have their own autism research center. Which is
That's what it is. Pretty amazing. So when you are thinking about going to see a show, Stage 1 Family Theater is offering right now the best Christmas pageant ever. What are the run dates?
We've got public performances the evening of December 14th at 7:30, and then on the 15th and the 22nd at 2 and 5 each day. Okay,
so you've got 5 performances.
5 public performances.
Left to go. And what does it cost to come to a show?
Not a whole lot at all. Not a whole lot at all.
Whitney?
$20 for adults and $15 for students.
Awesome.
So.
Are there family packages still? Do you guys do we have season?
We don't do season. We don't have like a season subscription. We have what's called a family pass.
Yeah.
So think more like getting a membership to like the zoo or the science center.
Right.
So a family pass is good for an entire year.
Great.
And you can get a 2-person or a 4-person. And the family pass lets you come to any and all of what we do, our main stage shows. We have a storytellers program, which is our dramatic readings of children's books. Great for the young ones and the adults as well.
How many times can you come to the show?
You can come as often as you want.
Really?
So if you want to come, you come on the 14th, and this was great. Now we're going to come back on the 15th, and we're going to bring, we've got a family pass for 4, so I'm going to bring my son again, but we're going to bring 2 of his friends with him.
I could actually compete with Elle's mom's record for seeing 38 or 42 shows.
54.
54 that her child was in. Good Lord, woman. You probably know the whole show by heart. She can be your permanent understudy for every show.
The Family Pass is the best deal in town.
I bet.
Because it's good for a calendar year from when you buy it. So it's not, well, you're halfway through the season, so I shouldn't do it now. No, if you buy it now, it's good through Christmas next year.
Oh, I love that. That's
so
fantastic.
So you can get one. Matter of fact, they make great holiday gifts.
There you go. Hint,
Just
hint.
saying.
Hint, hint. Martha Bloom, thanks for watching. Amber Clark. Oh, have you guys been out to the main event? You ever been out there? Oh my God, I love that place. My friend Amber.
Charlie,
is
you
the
perked
marketer.
up like I haven't seen you in quite a while there.
Are you a laser tag or a ropes course or a bowling or a video game guy? You do?
Ropes course mostly. It's just fun to like see the arcade down there and then like go on the ropes. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. The main event, that's always, and they're big supporters of mental health. I work at Bridgehead Mental Health Services as well, and the main event has been supporters of mental health, and so we really appreciate that too. Speaking of the fact that we have sensory performances, I don't think that sensory performances are limited to children.
No, not at all.
So it's a good thing to think about if you have an adult in the family who might benefit from coming to a show like the Best Christmas Pageant Ever. Now, I understand that you are going to have the kids here do a scene for us. Am I right?
Well, you're half right.
I'm half right, okay.
I'm going to have one of the kids do the scene.
Yeah.
But her counterpart is not with us. And so, being a director and having the ability to cast, I've chosen a fine actor here to play the role. Matter of fact, I just happen to have your script.
You do?
Right here.
Oh my gosh.
So, Tara, you're going to play Alice.
Caroline, what have you done?
You're going to play
She's
Alice.
getting me back. You know, she
Windleton.
thought of this, I bet. I'm Alice.
You're Alice Windleton. Now, Alice,
Okay.
so to give you some backstory, Allison is that snotty little kid who thinks the world revolves around her. Matter of fact, every year,
Typecasting already.
Every year, she plays Mary in the Christmas pageant.
course.
Everybody knows it's going to be her.
Of course.
And she acts, very fake humble. Oh, me? You chose me again? Oh, she's that one. Until this moment in the play, where Imogene has appeared at church for the first time and sees Alice is walking along, of course, with her white Bible in her hand. And Imogene decides to ask her a little bit about what a pageant is. And inadvertently, through her own semi-bragging of herself, gives Imogene the idea of, you know what, I don't know who Mary is, but I'm going to take that part away from you just because of who you are.
I love that idea.
So you're going to you're going to be
Alice.
Prissy Alice,
Okay.
and then of course we have Imogene Herdman here. And so here's the scene.
Do you already know your lines?
Yes.
Oh my God! So I'm working at a disadvantage here. She has her mother to teach her all these things.
Here's the scene. You're walking through the church.
Yes.
You Bible
it would be a
in
very
hand.
short walk because we're all tethered to microphones.
Bible. Well, so you've been walking.
Yes.
You stop when Imogene steps forward and asks you a question, startling you out of your Bible.
Startling me out of my Bible.
So you can already be standing as if you were reading, and Imogene's going to speak, and that startles you up, and then you suddenly find yourself alone in a space with this frightening girl who, is a bully, who likes to beat you up, and who, has probably done mean things to you, and it's like being alone in a dark alley. Suddenly you're a little scared that she's talking to you and asking you questions.
So I'm a bully, but I'm also intimidated.
Absolutely.
Sort of. And she's a bigger bully and not at all intimidated.
Different kind of bully.
Yes. Okay. So I think I need a prop. Is my scarf over there in that purple jacket?
This is going to be fun.
Here we go. Okay, I need
All
a
right,
scarf.
here we go.
Want to be Miss.
We've got costuming
Thank
here.
you so
Beautiful.
much.
All right.
Here we go.
All
I'm
right.
ready.
Excellent. All right.
I'm ready for my close-up.
Mr. Dominion. All right.
Okay.
Imogene.
Miss Whitney, would you make sure that we stay in frame here?
All right.
It's
So
gonna be a little bit
Imogene,
difficult.
I'm going to give you a 3, 2, 1 action. I'm going to give you a 3, 2, 1 action, and then Imogene's going to start.
May the best woman win.
All right. Here we go.
Okay.
Ready?
Here we go.
Here we go. Looking
Okay.
for honesty. Remember that. All right. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1, action.
What's a pageant?
It's a play.
Like on TV? What's it about?
It's about Jesus.
Everything here is.
Well, it's actually about Mary. Mostly it's about Mary.
Who's Mary?
I am. Well, probably I am. I certainly know the part.
And scene. Now, see, at this moment, if we weren't tethered, at this
That was funny.
moment,
She'd tackle me?
no, she would simply look at you and then Alice decides it's time to go.
Yeah, I would be out the
So
door.
so she tries to keep going, and then Imogene steps in front of her.
Oh my
So
God.
she tries to go around, and Imogene steps in front of her again, at which point she turns and hightails it out. Imogene decides to follow, and
You're very intimidating.
a little later in the play, we find out exactly what Imogene said to her off stage. I'm not going to spoil it. You need to come.
No
You need to come
spoilers
see
allowed
it.
here.
But let's
Gosh,
just,
that was fun. Good job. I can't say I've done that in a long time, but I always like to tell Whitney. She gets so tired of the story. But when I was 6, actually, I think I was 5. Yeah, I was still 5. I was the littlest Christmas tree number 7 in the eponymous play, The Littlest Christmas Tree. And I grew under a rock and a stump. And I was the last Christmas tree to be chosen to be cut down. So it was moving. It was a
well,
moving show.
I want you to know that after seeing your
She's got tears rolling down her face. And
After
then I
seeing
was
your-
Huck Finn in Huckleberry Finn.
Tara,
so
after seeing
7th
your
grade.
performance here, I expect you at the auditions for the best Christmas pageant ever next year.
I think I'm a little old to play Alice, but that's
Oh
okay.
no, have I got the role for you?
Oh my God, Rick Asbury is
what role should she be?
Helen Armstrong.
Yeah,
Oh no,
Helen Armstrong.
what does Helen do?
Well, Helen is the woman who normally runs the Christmas pageant, but she falls and breaks her leg, and so another woman from the church gets put in charge, and then lets the herdman in. So Helen's the one who sits back in the wheelchair in judgment over how things are not going the way they are supposed to.
Well, the last time I acted I did the vagina monologues one year for U of L, which was really awesome, and then and I did Derby Dinner when it was an Equity House many years ago. A long time ago. So it's always fun. And Peter actually was my husband at the time. Do we remember Peter?
Peter Holloway.
Yeah, he was the director here for a long time. We played husband and wife, and he kidnapped me in 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. And then we fell under a table and ended up looking up people's skirts in the blackout because we missed the ramp. He had me in a blanket over his shoulder. We're bolting off stage and missed the ramp and tumbled and got back up and continued our run.
And this is why we love live theater.
Yes, exactly. And then I was doing, I was Martha Jefferson in 1776, which if you ever want to do a fun role, with Adams and Franklin singing, he plays the violin.
Beautiful song,
greatest
beautiful.
role. It's 15 minutes in the middle of the show and that's it, but you know what, it's so worth it. And to have and so for that moment that we were doing that little bit of a scene, see, I suspended all my disbelief and I pretended like I was actually, I didn't have to pretend, you scared the heck out of me. That little belligerence that you showed, you're nothing like that character, which I love. And Elle and Charlie and Andrew are going to be continuing their quest to make the Herdmans the best Christmas pageant ever. And you can see it too, Stage 1 Family Theater. Is it StageOneFamilyTheater.org?
Stage1.org.
Just stage1.org, so that's easy because then you don't have to know how to spell theater, which is an R-E in this particular case instead of an E-R.
But you do have to spell 1.
Stage 1,
You do have to spell the 1.
ONE.org, which is going to be really fun, and you can get your family pass and see as many shows as you want. What is this the official start of the new season, or when does the season?
We're actually this is the middle point
This is
of
the
the
middle.
new season. Frankenstein opened our new season.
Okay.
So we started with Frankenstein, and now the best Christmas pageant ever. Then we'll be back in January with Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing.
Yes.
Which is based on the Judy Blume book, and I cannot wait. The script reads like a series of Saturday Night Live sketches.
Are you guys going to audition for that too?
Well, they don't get to do this one.
They
Now,
don't.
A lot of times we do age-appropriate casting, meaning we cast kids as kids, but sometimes there are artistic reasons not to.
I see.
So you get to see a grown-up act like a 3-year-old on stage.
That's even better. I should probably audition for
So
that one.
you should have seen all of the professional actors auditioning simultaneously for Frankenstein and Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing.
That would have
jumping
been
back
hilarious.
and forth.
I wish I had viewed that particular audition.
It was fun, and then we're going to close out the season with the true story of the 3 Little Pigs.
Oh my
which
gosh.
is a musical version of the popular children's book, where the audience gets to help decide whether the wolf is guilty or innocent.
Now there you go, just like the Miss America pageant, where we all vote to see who wins now. So tune in for Wagon Wednesday on Wednesday at 4. We are getting into the Christmas season, which means we're going to have 2 weeks in a row, Christmas and New Year's, where we're going to have some interesting shows. And there are going to be some serious topics in places that you might think it will be funny. and vice versa. So just stay with me for the next few weeks, Mondays and Wednesdays at 4 o'clock. Take it from Tara. And of course, Wagon Wednesday on Wednesday, shockingly. And I appreciate the fact that you guys have tuned in today to talk about this wonderful opportunity at Stage One Family Theater to see the best Christmas pageant ever. And thank you, Andrew, so
Tara.
much. Thank you,
Such a
appreciate it.
pleasure.
Whitney, thank you. Come on in here, ladies. Get in here and say goodbye. Yeah, say goodbye because you've done such a fabulous job. Whitney and Jennifer and the two fabulous Herdman children, thank you both so much. We appreciate it. Give a big round of applause to yourselves on the way out.